So I think it's fair to say that the days of the OnlyFans platform are numbered, and a really interesting topic of conversation here in the office tonight was what the future of this industry is going to look like. And coincidentally, Tim Stokely, the founder of OnlyFans, is actually releasing his new platform Subs this coming week. So we discussed this in the office tonight, and we actually discovered quite a few interesting things that Subs has got to offer. So I'm really keen to hear your thoughts on Subs and the platform space in general over the coming weeks, months and years. So obviously with Subs potentially launching tomorrow in the next couple of days, where are you at in terms of like decisions on with regards to what platforms creators should be on today?
There are so many options now that a lot of them are just blurring into one. There's probably 10 to 15 different OnlyFans alternatives, but Subs does actually excite me in a way that other platforms don't. Not only because it's the founder of OnlyFans, Tim Stokely, who has put this together and is launching it next week, but also because of some of the features that they have that other platforms don't have. The referral scheme and that kind of stuff. But also, as time goes by, the more I realise, or at least I presume, that OnlyFans won't be the main platform for much longer. I think it's only a matter of time until there is significant regulation imposed on this industry as a whole. I think OnlyFans will feel the brunt of that, and that will then open up the gateway for other alternatives to come in. We're very familiar with FanView. We're familiar with other platforms as well. But it's going to be interesting to see how that landscape pans out. And for me, I think Subs has a pretty good chance at securing a top spot when that regulation does come in, if it comes in, which I think at this point, I don't know what you think, but I think it's pretty inevitable that given what's going on at the moment, there are going to be some pretty big changes to the landscape.
Completely. I mean, with the class action lawsuit is just one of probably a plethora of things that will pop up off the back of that are inhibiting creators and agencies' ability to just do what they want. There's going to be rules and regulations, or at the very least, there's going to be a watchful eye from authorities in regards to how a customer's treated and how is the platform aiding that in happening. And I think that's kind of where OnlyFans are in trouble at the moment, that they're seen to be involved in a way whereby, are they facilitating it? This is the question that's being asked. Now, of course, we will never know. But what's interesting about Subs in a more positive light that's interesting for me is that it seems to have the balance of UI, UX balanced perfectly with that of features that we actually want as a creator in an agency. You know, as somebody who is actively referring creators, the opportunity for referral here, which, by the way, I think is a two-tier referral income, whereby essentially the 5% that you get as an immediate referrer is actually then tagged on briefly again to anybody that they refer off the back of that at 2.5%. So essentially there's this like father referral and grandfather referral scheme that you get access to as a referrer, which I think is nice to see that the platform are incentivizing like OnlyFans did. OnlyFans grew tremendously initially off the back of that referral scheme that they had years and years ago, and actually putting a cap on that at what I think is like 50k in a year or something like that massively inhibited their growth. So it's nice to see that Subs are bringing back what helped OnlyFans grow so well, but actually with a platform that is listening to the audience in terms of what they want. And the biggest problem with OnlyFans now is that it just doesn't take on the feedback. There's no innovation. There's no new updates coming about, which is what's allowed other platforms like Fancentro, Fansly, FanView to come to light and actually offer value. I mean, we speak incredibly highly of FanView on this channel, and we will continue to do that, and rightly so. You know, it is, in the current climate, it is the best alternative, and we've said this many a time, and I stand by that up until now. And so for that to kind of be tested now with Subs is going to be really interesting for us.
Yeah. So when you met with Tim recently, was there anything specifically in that conversation that really like bolstered your opinion and your support of the platform? Was there anything that he said that made you think, okay, that makes a lot of sense, that's something that we haven't necessarily had or received or been promised from anyone else? Was there anything in that conversation that really got you excited?
There's a couple of key things for the creator front. The opportunity to kind of have a profile with a two-tier subscription system in the sense of like follow and subscribe. I think that's cool because it invalidates the need to have paid and free. We hate when a creator signs up with us and she has paid and free, because then it's a case of, well, what are we going to do? Because ultimately, why would we prioritize two when we can prioritize one and double down on that? And I think having the opportunity to see subscription and following on the same page, that's really cool off the bat. I think the collab post opportunity is great. So I believe as a creator, you can essentially request, hey, I want to do a collab with you. And that creator then has the opportunity to accept or deny that. That's cool again, because it solves the problem of the scam with S4S, etc. But it also creates the opportunity for shared subscribers and ultimately page growth. So I think they're cool features for sure.
Yeah, it's interesting that when you mention collabs, that is one of the most frequent pain points that I've heard from creators is this person posted the collab at 9 p.m. We were supposed to post at 10 p.m. They haven't tagged me, blah, 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 blah. There's all of these like nonsense technical issues that creators face with that. So,
yeah, I think that's where actually the collab tool is going to be really useful and solve a lot of those problems, because I believe that it allows you to split the revenue at the source. I don't know where exactly it determines, what is what. I guess it's that you can agree that this particular piece of content is collaborative, and so every time that either of us sell it, the split is as follows. I imagine that's how it works, but either way, the opportunity to, in some capacity, share the revenue on collab pages, on collab posts across both pages is really cool, and I think that will be, as a creator, I think that's going to be very attractive.
Are they doing that with agencies as well?
I don't know how that works. I mean, that would be amazing if there's a sophisticated system that allows for management to charge their fees at the source of revenue. It invalidates the likelihood of there being payment-related issues. But that does mean that the platform would have to stand by agencies and actively support them.
Yeah.
And so I don't know whether that's something that any platform could integrate, subs or anybody. I don't know what the legislation is around that. We'll have to wait and see.
Interesting, though, definitely.
I mean, it would be fantastic if it was able to be delivered in a way that was...
Because again, that's a huge pain point for agencies.
It's a huge pain point for everybody. But what's going to be challenging there is being able to fulfill the convenience of splitting management fees at the source whilst not aiding and embedding people with disingenuine intentions conducting services or taking a share of revenue that isn't rightfully theirs, or condoning agencies in the eye of the public. That's kind of the pain points for the platform here if they were to look at doing that, I would imagine. But time will tell. I don't actually know the legislation on that.
What has held alternative platforms back from reaching OnlyFans level, aside from the obvious in terms of the brand awareness and the fact that OnlyFans were the first people to, capture that audience? What do you think has been the biggest problem that alternative platforms have faced when trying to compete with OnlyFans?
It's tough to put a finger on like what this is the problem, because ultimately the problem is reputation. That is the problem that we have. I mean, there are a plethora of other platforms that are as good as, if not better. Again, to reference FanView, I do think FanView was better, especially with the recent functionality that's been added around the affiliate scheme, the tracking links. Like, really, that is a fully functional platform now that is a much better alternative to that of OnlyFans. But it just doesn't compete with, as an agency or a creator. If I could pick a platform, it would have to still be OnlyFans, just merely based on reach and reputation, and therefore the trust score essentially in the eyes of the subscriber is still so much higher with OnlyFans that it just isn't comparable. That's the only thing that I think subs really have on the other platforms right now, in the sense that because it's got the backing of the OnlyFans founder, who likely has an amazing network, a creative eye, an opportunity to identify flaws in the platform that he created, and he will ultimately know how to make it a better platform. I think that will give people confidence that actually I need to be a part of this, which will make a big industry move to essentially follow this hype that will then create the awareness. If we take another platform like FanView, for example, they haven't come into the space with a a big I am behind the platform, which has created this desire to be a part of it. Actually, they've just been generating what is actually a really good platform that is authentically going to take a lot longer. But because I think there's going to be a big jump from everybody who follows the subs hype, that will in turn create a little bit of a compounding effect, and more people will typically come over from that. That's the only thing I think that will maybe help the platform grow here.
Yeah, I mean, the key benefits are going to be the reduced stigma that the alternative platforms have over OnlyFans. The creators who don't want to be perceived as an OnlyFans model or as an OnlyFans creator, they can essentially prevent that stigma to a large extent by using an alternative platform like FanView, like subs. I also think one of the things that FanView have done better than most alternative platforms, and I'm hoping that subs can replicate that, is they've listened to their customers, their clients. They've listened to agencies, they've listened to creators. They've implemented updates, new features for people like us. They're also doing a lot of networking. So I think that Tim and subs can take a lot of what FanView have done and replicate that in a similar way, and also add in the additional benefits that are inherent to being the founder of OnlyFans. It will be interesting to see where subs is in the next year.
I think actually, and I don't know the answer to this, but I would be really interested to see how in touch with AI the platform's going to be, and what kind of functionality we can get in terms of that. I know things like FanView have the AI creator coach, and a cool few prompts that do help the experience as a creator, but also on the payment and payout side. I do believe that subs has Apple Pay, which is going to be great for conversion.
Huge.
But aside from that, how else as a customer can I pay? How as a creator can I withdraw? That sort of thing's going to be important for subs in terms of getting that right.
I'd also be very interested to find out how much consideration subs are going to put into the legal side of this industry, knowing that regulation is an inevitability. I wonder if they've put any thought into how to protect creators, how to protect agencies from that kind of issue in the future. That could be a USP for them if they've done some due diligence on that, put things in place, processes in place to protect their users, be it agencies or creators. I think that's really important as well.
I know Tim did mention he has aspirations to do the very most for his creators, and I liked that. And in fact, that obviously sparked interest for me as someone who offers accountancy services, support with mortgages and real estate, banking, these services that we offer. That gives me a lot of confidence that Tim can recognise there's a need for that. I think the problem at the moment is, as a creator, there aren't very many agencies or platforms that can help me. If I'm a creator that doesn't have a clue how to complete her taxes or how to get a bank that's not going to get shut down, and nobody's around to help me, that's a tough spot to be.
Yeah.
And if there were a platform or an agency that can do that for me, that's amazing. I think that's why we've had a lot of success at TDM, because we do consider that, and we do offer the comprehensive bolt-on services as well as the management package itself. And I think as a platform, if Tim can get behind that, then that's going to be big for subs as well.
Yeah, definitely. If he could have more involvement in making sure that subs is inclusive of every aspect of the creator economy and their businesses, that's going to be really key to getting ahead of the rest of the competition and opening up that door when the inevitable happens with OnlyFans.
And on that whole topic of the opportunity to subscribe or follow as a fan, I think where that's really useful for the creator or the agency is the opportunity to kind of keep the leads within the bucket. Ultimately, if you've got subs that unsubscribe, you can jeopardize that lead, really. Whereas now, if they just revert back to following, which is what will happen if they unsubscribe, they'll just revert to a follower. They're still within your economy. You can still capture their attention with mass messages. You can still talk to them. They just aren't paying a monthly retainer to have access to the content on the wall. Now, this could inhibit your subscription revenue opportunity, because as a guy who wants to talk to X creator, why would I feel the need to pay if I'm not that interested in content? We know most guys that are subscribing aren't necessarily interested in content. They're interested in actually pursuing the creator on a level in which that might inhibit sub revenue, or it might be amazing for being able to keep the leads within your economy.
Retarget, re-engage.
Yeah, completely. So that's going to be cool. One of the other things that supposedly will be coming to the platform, of course, time will tell, but I'm really excited for this actually, is the opportunity to do video calls on the platform. That's going to be really, really cool. The opportunity to just upsell those, schedule them in, and actually do them on the platform. That's going to be great. And really, really interestingly, which is a new one for me, I don't know if you've seen this on another platform, I don't think I have, is the opportunity to actually create group chats. So as a creator, I can make, or potentially, I can make a group chat with a series of subscribers. So in the instance that we're running quite a transactional page and we're dealing with customers that aren't necessarily interested in pursuing one-on-one interactions, there might be a way to encompass a multitude of different people into one place to deliver a certain content or conversation. That could be quite cool. Yeah. I'm sure there's going to be ways, if we give it some thought, that we can be quite creative with that.
Yeah, definitely. You could have a tiered approach where you have, if you are running a very transactional page, you could have different tiers of subscribers from a low end to a top end, and the top end subs are in the more premium group chats that offer more explicit content potentially. Or,
you can already see it, like tip X to be a part of my X group.
Definitely, yeah. It's not going to work for a lot of our creators.
No, it's not going to work for anybody who offers that girlfriend experience.
Big stars, that kind of thing. It could definitely work, yeah.
It's going to be a little bit like course selling, where it's going to be asking people to join a paid community.
Yeah.
We're going to be looking at the Telegram space in real time on subs. And another feature that relates to the collab post that I think is actually quite cool is the opportunity to reach out for S4S.
Yeah.
So if you don't necessarily want to collaborate on something and split revenue, but you want to S4S still, that can actually be done on the platform too. So again, similarly to how you can volunteer a collab, you can actually volunteer a shout out for shout out, which I think is going to be useful again. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of utility for all of these little cool features because they ultimately solve a problem, and business is problem solving, and when businesses solve problems, they're typically very successful. So seeing a platform like subs come into the marketplace and essentially just solve a lot of the reoccurring problems in the economy, that's going to offer it a good opportunity to grow. I mean, what's going to be really interesting, guys, is what do you think about this? What do you think subs' future looks like in the space? Do you think it has the opportunity to go all the way and bring OnlyFans off the pedestal, or do you think it's just going to be another one of these many different alternatives for the OnlyFans platform?